Hello and welcome back to the On the Slab Horror Show, the show that we bring to you each and every Friday night. Why we do this on a Friday night? Because Friday night is horror night. I actually went to show you the t-shirt, but I realised that it's a different t-shirt I have on. But I will show you how cool this one is. This has one of the best final girls in the business, Miss Lauren Lavera. Shout out to Joe Lamb for the fetus t-shirt, because it was an awesome movie. But tonight you can see we're joined by a guest. This one I was super excited about. This came off the back of an interview that we had about an upcoming movie of hers called The Slab. Um, but this is actress and all round badass Miss Sadie Katz. How are you?
Oh, good. Thank you. I like that all around badass. I'll take it. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, I've seen a few movies and you're not exactly a pushover in them.
No, I'm really like, I can always tell when people have seen my movies because when they haven't, they go, "Oh, you're an actress in horror." And then they start talking to me about like running through the woods and being a victim. And I'm like, you probably haven't seen my movies. I can be I'm lucky. I get to play a lot of wicked characters, which is really cool.
You just have that look.
I I'm like this. I'll probably
Yeah.
kill you. Yeah,
What
I
happens?
can.
I
My
will I
husband
will
says
end
I can
you.
be terrifying.
Well, I mean, like I've said it on the show multiple times to different people. Um, I don't really like typecasting actors and actresses, right? But if you have um, a look or a style, you go to the well as much as you can.
Yeah. Well, I have this voice that I've had my life
Forever.
that sort of, yeah, it sounds like I've been, hitting the whiskey and smoking the cigarettes, which I have in my life, but I don't very often anymore. But I've always had this voice. And so when you like, it's fun for casting. They don't know what to do with me in like commercial work. They're like, I'm not going to sell dish soap, but I may like be the perfectly cast to strangle my husband.
I mean, as long as you don't do it in real life, that's fine.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I don't think I would win in real life. In real life, I in real life I'm much more of a wimp than on camera you get to kind of be be the craziest version of myself that I can be.
Well, what you could do is, if you needed to do that, was just turn a camera on and then the badass comes back out.
This is a good idea. Hold on, I'm writing this down. And I want to.
Sorry, Mister Hubby, you're in trouble here. Yeah. Um, but before we jump into some of your films, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started in the business, and then we will start uh,
All right.
the deep dive.
Yeah, so okay, I'm from Orange County, California, which is about an hour outside of Hollywood. And I always wanted to act. It was like my always my passion from being a young girl. And I kind of came into it like the very like ground level way, which is I did plays in high school. Then um, I went to college, I studied acting. I didn't end up getting my bachelor's degree because I was already pursuing acting. And I started doing, I got like my associate's degree in acting, which is worth like nothing. But I did
Probably
train.
cost a bit though.
Yeah, yeah, right. I did train like in Meisner and Eric Morris and some Stella Adler. I did like we're talking about like the thespian, really nerdy stuff, like the non-cool stuff. But then I basically went into doing student films for different colleges in Los Angeles and built up my reel. Like, I've been doing this for 20 years, so the route to go about things before was like if you didn't know anyone in the business. I think a lot of people don't understand that, like, if even if nepotism, if somebody isn't like someone's child, they've been in the business, or they're in like a certain, like they went to Yale or they went to Harvard, they went to these big schools. And that's the way we get like some of our younger actors. But to come in acting in your 20s is sort of a really weird route. So, which leads me to how horror films are like the number one like indie thing. So if you're a new actor in LA, you're probably not getting seen by television, casting directors. Like that's like a different, those doors aren't open to you yet, and you have like a very beginning agent. Um, and I just did like I submitted for myself. I used to mail my headshot out, and one of the things I realized is I was such a nervous auditioner. I was a very like I wanted it so bad. I wanted to act more than anything in my life. Um, and I would get really nervous before the auditions. I always threw up before. Like just I would want it so
Nice.
much. I'd be like, if only they would give me a chance. If only and this is when you didn't tape auditions, you went in the room. And then something happened where I realized if I could fool them and pretend not to be nervous, by the time I did the audition, I said, okay, it's great to meet you guys. This is wonderful. And then I went into the scene. Horror films, I could let myself all those that emotion come out. So they would normally be like, okay, wonderful, nice to meet you. And then I'd have my script. You used to have your script in your hand. And I would say, okay. And they go, do you need a minute? And then I wouldn't even need a minute. I'd need like 3 seconds. And I'd be like, completely freaking out. And so I think I was already like really, acting is about being really still. And um for horror, you get to be a little more twitchy and stuff. So I kind of got into horror by really that was an emotion I could easily access was fear, and then you know then it kind of goes from there. Thank God for horror.
The little bit of crazy.
A little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's so funny to me because in theater, I always played like, I'd always get these characters that were really provocative and aggressive. I had a really aggressive upbringing. My mom could really lose her shit, like mommy dearest style. So if I had to play a character like that or audition, I kind of knew that character, and I like the biggest thing for playing villains is you're not supposed to judge the villain. So it was really kind of in my wheelhouse to understand where a character was coming who could lose their shit but still be a real person.
Sorry, I have to pause this for one. Yeah, jumping back in there. Sorry about that. There was I had to edit. I had to move the camera. The horror scene though has absolutely been a platform to help everybody kind of get into acting. It seems like it's the one that people get into first and then move on, or some stay, some go, some come back.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
the fans embrace like it's funny because like it's weird, and this the last 20 years horror has really changed and is now very mainstream and even um artsy. You have A24 and like major movies that are doing horror that are getting nominated for and television. That's like the respectability of horror and has gone up and up, so it's no longer like, oh, she's a scream.
yeah, the one thing I found with horror, it never got the love that it deserved.
Right.
In terms of awards, like there's some amazing horror movies from the 70s, the 80s, and earlier, all the way up. And to think that only is, I think I seen a stat the other day that it's only 6 horror films have won an Oscar for sort of Best Picture or whatever. I think it's 6. I might be wrong with that, but it's a relatively low number.
Right.
Um, like the Silence of the Lambs is the only one that's won the big five because it was just a cheat code of a movie. Um, is it The Substance? I think was the last one. Now I didn't see that myself.
Oh, you
Um,
haven't seen it?
not it's not quite my style of horror. I'm not sold on body horror.
Oh, interesting. But you like Wrong Turn.
Yeah,
Wrong Turn. Well, I guess
not
Wrong Turn is about the kills
yeah,
and substances like I just did a film called Dead Bloom that hasn't come out yet. And yeah, it's body horror. It's a totally different kind of genre. I mean, it's
yeah,
bloody. So I think of Wrong Turn not as body horror, but very bloody,
yeah.
gore.
The
But
Wrong Turn
what's
for me
more,
is it's kind of a slasher fun
yeah,
movie that just has some cool mutilations in it.
yeah.
Where when you think of body horror, I'll look at Cronenberg, like The Fly. Though I love The Fly. Um, for some of it, you'll say the thing with the way the bodies distort and stuff. Um, but there are other ones in there like where I'm just like, yeah, like Hostel and stuff. I'm just kind of like, oh, okay,
Yeah, well, that's like torture porn, really. I
yeah,
mean, the thing about the substance that I thought was wild is it really goes off the rails. The end scene of the substance is like, I mean, my husband and I are watching it, and I'm like, I cannot believe that this was like greenlit because it's so it kind of well like most body horror at the body horror like most of the time the third act as you know becomes like really crazed
yeah.
like you did not and I didn't really see I knew the substance was like crazy of course but like where it goes at the end I'm like holy shit this is um I don't know if it like I feel like a hater saying this but I don't know if like it deserved an Oscar. I don't know if like it was that Demi Moore's great like to me like Demi Moore like it was brave that she didn't look beautiful for 1 minute but then she went on the press tour and like she looks younger than her character. She was, I thought the press tour kind of threw me off a bit. And then she didn't win the Oscar, and then the young girl won the Oscar. So it like, it kind of proved the whole point. It was a very weird, it was a weird thing. But
I keep meaning to watch it, and then I'm scrolling along. I'm like, right, there's The Substance. I've set a couple hours aside, and then I'm like, no, I'll just watch Nightmare on Elm Street. I'll just watch Wrong Turn. I'll just watch this, and I go back to all the ones that I'll watch over and over again.
there's something about that, like the problem with a lot of this, the new horror, and I don't mean the problem, but it is a little bit is like it's so about being elevated and saying something and like horror as you know like in the 80s was like fucking fun it's just fun like
Yeah,
long term when people have stuff to say about it I'm like Ron Turner is just like fun and you get to see some tits like it's really great kills and the bad guys win like it's like you're trying to make it something that it's like when they did the remake it's like why are you remaking something that's like isn't trying it's not aspiring to be noble it's
yeah.
fun of course just like my son and I have a 24-year-old and a 3-year old and my 24-year-old and I are like let's go to the movies and we're like let's see Final Destination like we just want to see something that we're gonna like laugh at and scream at and like eat popcorn and now have a glass have a drink with no.
You go in, you sit down, you turn your brain off, and you're like, happy days.
Yeah, and like at the end, you almost feel like you survived it. Like we saw bodies together, and it was so fun. Like what's the film about? It's just a horror film that's like silly and campy and like
There are loads of them, and don't get me wrong, like I have no issue with the horror films that are slow burners and have a story to tell, right? The problem is what I find with them is when it loses itself somewhere in the movie,
yeah,
and then you're kind of like, well, what's going on now? I'm not a filmmaker and I don't claim to be, and someone obviously has an idea of what they want when they're doing it.
right.
But for me, when I get to a movie and I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm lost now. I'm gone. I'm out.
Yeah, I actually sometimes I'll watch movies and I'm so emotionally involved with the movie that they're so complex that I'm like, what? I go, am I stupid or something? Like, what is going on in this movie? I like that's why The Conjuring, like people love The Conjuring. But if you watch it, it's like it's classic. They're like, hey, we showed up. This house is haunted. It's the kids are scared. We see the kids being scared. We go in and try to get rid of like try to do an exorcism. But it's like really it's not heavy on story. It's heavy on like the creep thing. I mean, I remember
James Wan done a fantastic job with that.
oh, it's like you
Mm.
watch it. I just watched it because I was doing a movie that is kind of like a knockoff of The Conjuring. And I was like, this is such a simple story. And I'd forgotten because I'd seen it in the theater. And all I remembered is like being scared out of my wits. Like I was really, really scared watching that movie. And uh it's so simple. Like there's no crazy dialogue. There's nothing. It's just like anticipation, scares. The kids are really good. Um,
Everyone, yeah, the whole
and
thing from start to finish.
I
Like
mean,
I have a couple of hot takes, and people that watch the show know some of them. But for
okay.
me, I'd have The Conjuring above The Exorcist any day of the week.
Whoa. Well, is that because The Exorcist has moments of boredom? Like
No,
it,
so like I understand what The Exorcist done for the genre and the love that it has, but 99% of possession movies don't really catch me. Do you know what I mean? I'm just kind of like, you've seen one, you've seen them all, you know roughly what's going to happen. Um, the Conjuring for me, when I went to see it in the cinema, I went in not expecting anything. Do you know what I mean? I was like, it's going to be a usual jump fest. Here we go. But I was gripped the whole way through. Like, and even like one of my favorite scenes is something so simple. You know when she's looking down the stairs and the
yeah,
hands clap beside her.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was just
I
like,
mean,
yes, perfect.
it was. I'm a fan of like simple scares. Like I really that to me a simple story and like yeah, you're right. The Conjuring sets it up and like every you've got like maybe instead of every 15 minutes there's a scare. It's like every 5 minutes. Oh my god. Oh, oh my God. I don't know if you got this where you are, but I was on a TV series called My Haunted House that
My
used to be,
haunted
it was like
house.
a fake reenactment show, but it would do scripted reenactments. And it was the coolest TV show. I was on like 2 episodes because they were single standalones and it was like jump scare. Someone would come on as if they were telling the story of a real haunting, and then they would
Sorry,
go,
I'm listening to you. I'm just looking it up here as well.
yeah, it's called My Haunted House. That's kind of fun for kids too, because it's not dirty, but the scares are pretty fun. Like they're creepy, they're simple, and
It seems like I can. It seems like I can get it.
you should check it out. That I did oh, so I did the season finale, a 2-part episode where they actually interviewed the real, I can't believe I forgot this lovely woman's name. Um, they actually did interview like one of the real scares. It was on forever ago, but I'll tell you the show was so scary because it goes right to the jump scares, which is like
Nice.
something really fun. Like that's what the Conjuring is. They're like, hey, this house is haunted. Hey, now we're gonna show you all the scary shit. Like
Mm.
I would never go into that house. I'm such a chicken. If something happened in our house, like I would just never. I the movie could not happen for real at my house because I would be like, if I went to open the door, I would never say hello. I'd be like, I'm not going in. Fuck this. I'm out.
What about the scene in Insidious? Do you know when they move house and she looks in, the little boy is just running around her sitting room?
Like no, like they always go like, well, we bought the house. We don't have any money. Like they always have like all these reasons why they're
The usual Amityville storyline.
yeah, the Amityville. I'm just I'm way too like I'm way too chicken of things. But I also would love I would absolutely love to see a ghost, like, and to know for sure. Like I had a dream the other day where I saw like an angel, and I was so excited because it's like a ultimate confirmation of life after death. So I would love to like. I also like to have my mind blown. So like, I love things where I'm just like, wow, everything I thought is done. It's gone.
Interesting. We're getting a bit deeper here. Um, you should have come and seen the house that I lived in before we had to get a demonologist to come out and cleanse the place.
No.
Uh,
Did you have kids yet?
Yeah,
Did you film
yeah, we
it?
had one. No, I didn't.
You have to.
So what it wasn't even really me. It was herself. So well, one day we and her were sitting watching a movie, and you know the walkie talkies, the baby monitors.
Yeah.
So we had one of them. We were in a bungalow, and one of them was in the baby's room when he was asleep. One of them was in the sitting room with us, and you could hear like a lady talking, right? And now you hear they pick up other ones, so we didn't think anything of it. Then you could hear Finn talking back, like babbling back as a baby, right? So I was like, okay, cool, grand. Thought nothing of it. Started, kept going and kept going. So we walked to the door, and as we opened the door, everything stopped, and then he started screaming. And I was like, shit.
So did you? So how'd you even know a demon? Like, how'd you know a demonologist?
So like there was a few more bits that happened. Like Zoe went to pick him up one day in the middle of the night because she used to get up with him when she was on maternity leave because I used to go to work early. And she said she walked into the bedroom to pick him up, and as she came out, it was like someone screamed in her ear, but the other ear from where the baby was,
Yeah.
and things. And she said she was generally uncomfortable. But I was driving home one day from work, and there was a demonologist ad. It's like on one of the radio shows. They were talking to him, so I reached out to him, and they came up and kind of went around the house and did all this stuff, and nothing happened again. Now he said there was nothing there, but he said there was energy, but nothing major, and then nothing ever came again.
Oh my
Mm.
God. I would be like, we're moving. We're
Yeah,
out.
well, my ma's house is like that. Like, he went to do my ma's house,
Mm.
and it was something along the lines of being a portal
What?
or something. I
Wait,
don't know.
how old is your mom's house?
Not that old. It's the 50s, 40s, 50s, something like that.
I just like
But
sometimes houses are older when they're not in America. So I'm
mm,
like,
but like in my ma's house, you could be sitting in the sitting room, and the stairs would be behind you, going to the
uh,
front door, and you can hear someone coming down the stairs, but there's nobody there. But just a quick one before we go back to your movie. So myself and herself, when I lived at home, I had a sliding door because we had an extension and couldn't put a swinging door in, so I had to put a padlock on it to stop my sisters getting into. They used to go in and rob everything,
oh my,
right? So I like by that they take DVDs. I'm very protective of the DVDs and all that I had. But I was going out to meet herself and made the bed and stuff, right? And came back. Door was locked. Opened the padlock, and she pulled the covers back, and there was two white handprints on the black sheet.
oh my God.
Uh, I was mad, and then I think it was later on that day, her friends were over, and they were talking. They were talking about something in the house, and the ghost came up, and then like a bag fell off the top of the wardrobe and stuff.
Oh my God.
So yeah, they tend to follow us around.
Oh wow. Is that, do you think that's why you gravitate towards horror?
No, I blame my parents for that. They at a young age they were like, oh yeah, you can. I was always into movies, but they
Mhm.
turned around and said there's three movies you're never allowed to watch, this, that, and the other. One was The Exorcist, one was the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then the other one was Nightmare on Elm Street. And
So your favorite
11,
movie.
at 11 years old, I snuck down the stairs when they were asleep on a Friday night and watched Nightmare on Elm Street. and it's in fact my favorite horror movie of all time.
Yeah, I
Mm.
that was a big movie. I remember begging my parents to watch it. And I had such night. I think all kids who grew up in the 80s, like we all watched really scary movies and all have really I had crazy nightmares. And I I was scared of the dark up until like a couple of years ago. Like I never slept in the dark. Uh and I always had crazy nightmares. And but like I grew up watching horror movies a lot, sneaking them at my neighbor's house, and then watching Tales from the Dark Side, Tales from the Crypt,
Unreal
Monster.
shows.
Yeah, you don't know those shows?
No, unreal shows.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I watched a lot of that and loved it. And I think like I can't even think of a movie that's close to night. Like Nightmare on Elm Street was so original and like tapped into something and funny. I'm surprised when I watch it, like rewatch it now, because I never thought of Freddy as being so funny because he was just terrifying to me. Um,
Yeah, they definitely went funnier as the movies went on.
right,
And I do get it because he became such a pop icon. They couldn't keep him the way they were. It was worth too much money to it.
right,
But yeah, like the humor. I think I was only saying this on one of the horror pod pages the other day. He's the slasher that saved slashers. The slashers hadn't been out that long anyway, but it had become slow, methodical. Everyone knew what was coming, and then he just came out and it just changed everything.
right.
Uh,
Yeah. Super clever, super fun. It's funny because I think like I think Terrifier is the closest to having like a new villain that's kind of humorous,
Humorous.
humorous but gory. I and people are taking it's crazy to me because like you go to a Halloween store and like the theme of the store is Terrifier. Like
Yeah,
an
it's
indie
it's
film.
on a different level now, isn't it?
Yeah, like it's wild because I watched them like be indie film guys and now they're like Universal Studios is having like an entire theme of it's kind of crazy, but it's fun because it shows that people are hungry for like new icons, but you have to really earn it. They don't just like these movies try to come up with like a horror icon and they don't really nail it because it's there's a magic involved of like weighing weighing the gore with the humor with the scare. It's fun because there's a reason why someone's iconic.
So I brought this up again roughly around the time Terrifier 3 came out. The arguments were going that Art is in the same level as Michael and Jason and Freddy. Now, I don't agree with it in any way.
Oh
And
really? Okay.
I had actually done a show with Michael Levy, who was the producer on Terrifier. He was actually in the first Terrifier movie. He was one of the exterminator guys that gets killed at the end.
All right.
Um, and with Phil Falcone, and I said to them, I says, I don't think he's in that level yet. I says it's going to be near impossible to get to that level.
I don't
Um,
know. I think well, at least in America. So I'm right across from a Halloween store, like a huge pop-up store that's in the old Toys R Us.
is it HQ? Is that what's called Halloween HQ?
No, ours is it Halloween or
Oh, probably in and around the same thing.
yeah, it's probably the same thing. And I would have agreed with you maybe last year, like calm down. However, there's so much Terrifier merchandise, and it seems you have like all these huge things that you can buy. They're like 10 feet, 15 feet, and art is one of them, along with Freddie, Jason, um, like Frankenstein. Like he is one of the things. Now, I still would say maybe not. However, Universal Studios, like he's the face of their Halloween for the second year in a row. And I think for young people and even older ones, like in another 5 years, I don't think art is going to like go away. He's going to be like
See,
Scream. The Scream mask is, you know,
this
a
this
thing.
this would be the point that I would have made. I wouldn't put him there because the longevity isn't there yet.
Oh, okay. So you
Do you know what I
need
mean?
to,
You've got 3 movies. Well, technically you've got 5 movies
right,
with 2 different actors, right? But
right,
it's a whole different character from when David Howard Horton took it over to Mike Gianelli, whatever his. No,
right.
I don't know. I can't remember how to say his second name. It's become a whole different character. Um, and what it's
I mean,
done for indie horror has been amazing.
right. I mean, well, he started, wasn't his first movie Circus of the Dead? Am I right?
I think there was a short. Then I think it was All Hallows Eve.
Oh, and then Circus of the Dead. And then, so, I mean, by the time Terrifier 2 came out, like he was already established and like real horror fans knew who he was. Like,
Yeah,
like,
I think 2016 was Terrifier 1.
right.
I
So,
think
by,
that kind of brought him to the forefront, but didn't get over as much. And then Terrifier 2 hit. No, don't get me wrong, Terrifier 2 was phenomenal.
right. Well, I mean, those movies, like, like, I actually was on a like a weed and horror talk show for Dread Central.
Oh,
And
nice.
and that was the first time I saw Terrifier. They picked me up in the morning at like 9 a.m. And then I got high on. Oh, could you hold on 1 second? I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Babe.
yeah.
So
So,
I'm like going back. The first time I saw Terrifier, I was on an interview show that mixed horror and weed for Dread Central. So they sent me a car at 9 a.m. I didn't know what was going to happen on the show. Then I got there and I smoked weed, which I would not normally ever smoke weed in the morning. But I have partaken before. Um,
I've
so
indulged from time to time.
yeah. So they got me pretty high. Like it was like, let's see if you can keep up. And I'm kind of a cocky person with things like that. I think I'm one of the boys. So they get me high and then they're like, they have this wonderful girl who comes out with like these munchies that she makes that are horror themed. And then the next section is they show you a movie while you're stoned, and it was Terrifier, which I had never seen. And I was like
Nice.
pretty damn high. So I was watching it and it was like, oh, I felt like my face was melting. And then when they're sawing the girl by her vagina, I was just like, I I cannot believe this. I was like, this is the worst movie. And it was so perversely scary. Like it was legit. Like I've done a clown movie. I like clowns, but it was like a whole, it was genius. I understood that when Terrifier 2 came out, I was like, if they do that right, it is going to blow up. And
Yep.
it was everywhere. Like, and now you go to a horror convention and like half the convention is decorated in Terrifier. LA Comic Con, Terrifier stuff everywhere. So, it's nice for indie film actors. It's like a big win to see that evolve.
Oh, absolutely. I've said that on numerous shows. Like what Terrifier's done for the indie world is absolutely top notch, and it shows that it can be done.
Yeah.
Um, and like I was listening to Phil Falcone and Michael Levy, the two boys were saying, like it's just been phenomenal. The cast they work with, they have a close knit cast, and they'll only hire people that'll fit perfectly and stuff. So they've done it right.
Yeah. I mean, I know my girlfriend Felissa from Sleepaway Camp
No,
is part of the cast, and she's like an
it's
amazing I don't know if you've ever interviewed her, but she's an amazing human. And um, they were careful that like they knew that whoever they were giving this to, it was like a gift. it's beyond being in like just a horror movie. You're
Yeah,
you're you're saying like, hey, people are gonna want your autograph. You're gonna do the horror conventions, the horror circuit, and they knew that sometimes when you do a film with someone, like it's basically saying like this person I'm going to be sleeping with for the next year minimum. Well, they knew that it would be someone that they would have to deal with for possibly, you know, 10, 20 years, because that's that's how these things work now. So
yeah.
they were very judicious in who they worked with. And so everyone is super fucking cool. When you meet them, you're like, oh, I'm so happy for you that this is happening.
So I've only ever been to one convention, like big convention, and that was the horror one I went to 2 years ago in 23, and I met Lauren Lavera at that.
Yeah,
She's great. Um,
she's she's great. Where'd you go?
Manchester.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Which one?
For the love of horror.
Oh, for the love of it. That's very cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
The conventions are like crazy, they're such a crazy thing because it's like a big, huge party. And I think
Yeah, it's great.
people who don't know don't realize like everyone, it is like at the end of the convention, it's like a big family. Everyone's hung out for multiple days. They drink their weights normally. Uh, they've watched movies together, party together. It's a fun experience.
I'm actually going back now in 2 weeks. We're flying over to go back again this year.
Oh, how fun! How
Yeah, and then
fun!
there's the first one in Ireland 2 weeks later. So
I've never been to Ireland. Tell them to put me on a list so I have an excuse to go to Ireland because I'm 99.9% Irish.
I don't know how that works. Were you born in the States?
I don't know. Can I tell you? So I got my
I
DNA.
don't know.
I I mean, I know I was born in the States, but um when I got my DNA done, I was really excited because my dad died when I was young. And I was like, I'm gonna be so many things. It's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna unlock, like, I went to open up my thing, like, oh, what are all the mysterious, wonderful facets of me? And it was like 99.9% Irish.
Oh.
And I was like, that's it? Nothing mixed in? I mean,
I don't even think I'd get
I,
99% Irish.
do you know how many people have said to me, like, how could that be? I'm like, I have no idea. I guess I know that my grandmother was Irish, my dad was Irish. My dad must have been very, very Irish. Um, and my mom has more mixed in, but like, I mean, when I meet Irish people, like to me, a fun day is like a dark day at the pub.
I love a pub day. Love
Like
the
a
pub.
pub day. Like my husband, who is not Irish, is like he could never sit for like 6 hours at a pub. Like to
That
me, I'm
sounds
like
that,
a
that
good
sounds
dive.
like a him problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah. I'd sit
like
drinking pints all day.
I know. Well, like I could go and have like for brunch, I could have a drink with brunch, and it doesn't make me sleepy. Like a day drink doesn't,
Oh no,
I'm
that's it.
fine.
See,
I
I
can't
I
drink.
will I will struggle. Like if I stopped, if I went out and had two or three, I'd come home and sit down. I'd be asleep in like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I'm the older I get now since the baby, like I used to never have hangovers. I had this in my 20s and 30s. I never learned any lessons because I never have a hangover. Everyone would be like, "How you doing? You were pretty crazy last night." Nope, I'm fine.
That's
Like
not fair. That's not fair.
it was like this. It was like a genetic. I actually have a line in a movie that I did where it's like a rare genetic defect. I mean, I'm not saying I never, but most of the time I was like pretty okay.
Hmm. Well, I think we diverged quite a lot into that. Maybe we
I
should
know.
jump into some of your movies. Um, because otherwise this whole thing hasn't even been about you.
That's all right. You know what? I kind of love sometimes I think on these shows it's like really kind of a gift to just like when would I get to meet you otherwise? We just get on and like, talk about something that we both have in common, which is horror films, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. So what I've tended to do on this show really is if I have a guest on and everything's going well and we've gone through all kind of their stuff, I'll always invite them back to do just a horror one.
Yeah,
So I'd absolutely have you back on to do a horror one, if you're up for it.
of
Um,
course.
but we spoke just off screen before coming on, and obviously any of the fans know like I have a real big affiliation to the Wrong Turn franchise, and I've always said it's actually my favorite horror franchise. It's the one I'll watch from start to finish the most, and I watch them every year, including the remake, which I really liked.
Oh, you did
Um,
like the remake. Oh, well, that's
yeah,
good.
it's got my boy Cheney Morrow in there. Jeff Seaman is also a former guest on the show. He was the assistant director, I think, or producer or something in it. Um, I'm not sold on them using the name Wrong Turn.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's what I would say. I was like, it just didn't have anything. It was like, why did you even? It has nothing to do with what Wrong Term's about.
They should have left it at the original idea name. Well, the alleged, sorry, excuse me, the alleged original name of the foundation.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean, I think it was like a cheap thing where they wanted to
yeah,
use long term, but like they didn't. It's they kind of what they did stupidly is by doing that they killed their own. They
yeah,
if it would have been the foundation, they could have done sequels. Wrong turn, like fans who were expecting something.
yeah,
I feel like wrong turn fans are the funniest fans in horror. Like they're strange because they love to hate the movies a lot of times like if you announce there's a new wrong turn coming out everyone's like oh no
but they'll
oh
watch it anyway.
but they'll watch it and like
Oh,
they love it was very interesting because when wrong turn 6 first came out online everyone was super positive so for the first month it was getting like or first couple weeks I should say it was like getting everyone was like this is my favorite long term this is really good the quality is so much higher than the last couple of them and then one like prominent horror interviewer came out and was like it's there's too much sex it's really bad and then all of a sudden it became like cool to be like oh yeah there's too much sex in wrong turn 6 which is hilarious because all of them have a lot of sexy scenes and then uh so you just like you sort of saw like a little bit of like a change in how people saw the movie, but I was getting massive amounts of fan mail. Like overnight, I was just getting, tons of people who really loved the movie. They really liked, Sally. So I didn't really experience like the backlash of some people from the movie. And then as you know, the movie it's one of only 3 movies in the history of cinema that was recalled. Like the movie was completely recalled, taken off the shelves, which was like a very weird thing to experience. And then I didn't know what was going to happen. And then they, of course, put it back out. You know the story
so
behind this, right?
so this is the part that I was going to say to you. The backlash that you might have felt for some parts, the studio obviously felt for a completely different reason.
Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, I'll say this. So there's a scene, as since you know, if any wrong turn bands will know this. So there's a scene where the girl playing Tony goes into the grand hall with my brother, her boyfriend, and she sees all the family pictures, right? And when you see all the family pictures, um, then you also like you see the whole line, and it's like, the incestuous hillbilly line, right? Well, here's a couple things that's funny. When I was filming it, and like I was on set, and all of a sudden I looked at like those pictures, the craziest thing was I saw that they had gone onto like my Facebook and my MySpace, which MySpace I wasn't even using, but the prop guys had gone and like taken like one of the pictures was a picture of my high school picture that they like put on someone's face. So whoever was doing props went on my social media, stole pictures of me, and put it up. So like obviously props was like in a different area. So I thought that was so bizarre. I'm looking at the pictures because they used all pictures of me, right? And but they popped them into different pictures so everyone would look the same. And they did that to me and that one of my other co-stars, the guy who played my brother. And so I'm I was like, wow, that's crazy. They didn't even ask me. Well, then the scene that caused all the problems is in the wanted poster. Um,
The missing posters, yeah.
the missing.
When you were saying that about them pictures, I was like, that's not the story that I know of.
No, no, no. So I'm just saying, like the props was definitely,
On it.
they're Bulgaria, and their English was their second language. I mean, they're yeah, not even their second language, like it's like their
Yeah,
fourth or fifth. And the producers were totally American. And so what's crazy is they told them we want missing persons posters. And they went and they like went on Google and grabbed actual missing persons for the
yeah.
posters. And then the family, and here's what's really interesting. So the family that after the movie came out, one of the missing persons, uh, they someone recognized they didn't want any money. They that I guess their family member had been found and was
Yeah,
up on the like the sea, the I think a lake or something, and they were old and like stumbled off, and they just didn't want them in such a violent movie, but they
yeah.
didn't get any payoff. But what 20th Century Fox did is they recalled everything, which is crazy, and then they re-released it with like faces blurred out. So then they just went through the whole movie and just blurred out all faces, including the
So
ones of mine that were from my pictures, which is why it's like it's just a wild thing that happened. And it's weird that I got to be part of like that's like a really crazy thing. It was heartbreaking though because I was so excited about the movie coming out, and it premiered at Screamfest in Los Angeles, and like the crowd was like insane. They were so excited. Every time the kills happened, they went fucking insane. Like, you know, and then when the movie was taken off of like Best Buy and Walmart, all the places that sold it, I was like, I cannot believe this is going to happen. I was so afraid that the movie would just never come out.
so I was actually one of the few. I got it. Um, I had a relation that got it for me in the States
Yeah,
because them kind of movies took a long time to come out over here. And obviously
yeah.
everyone knew that I was a big fan, so they were on holidays and they brought it back for me. So I had one of the original copies.
Oh, I have
But
to cite it for you.
that missing girl was from a town probably less than an hour from where I live.
No.
Yeah, she was from Wexford.
Oh, I
Uh,
mean,
it was
so not.
unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's funny if you're not part of the family because it's such a weird misunderstanding that
Yeah,
the prop people actually like they actually went and put missing people. Like that's a bizarre choice. And
that's a Tobe Hooper move right there.
yeah, it's just like, oh my God. Um, and I loved it. What's so crazy is like it was filmed at UFO Studios in Bulgaria. So 20th Century Fox was like paying for them to do it, but it's obviously much cheaper there. And I'll tell you, like the people who worked on the film, when I wrapped that film, I cried hysterically and like hugged everyone. Like they were some of the hardest working, nicest people. Like I had a magical time filming the movie. Like it was one of those times where like you're super aware that like it was such a gift to me. The fact that I got to do the film and have such a big character and like she was so fucking wacky. It was like,
It,
while we were filming it, Valeri, the director, who also, by the way, did not speak English. So like the director, the DP, the crew, no one spoke English except the producers. So, and I was only myself and Aquila Zoll were the only ones from America. Everybody else had just graduated in the UK. Like it was their first film ever, besides Roxanne Pellet, who was already a star there. So it was like this really crazy experience. I partied so hard when I did that film. I was young enough. I never had I it was so much fun. We stayed at this really fancy hotel and like I lived it, we all lived it up because we knew what a cool thing it was. And it was wild. I mean, we filmed in like those scenes in the snow. It was I thought I was gonna get frostbite. Like it was legitly like 2 in the morning, snowing, freezing. I had on that little dress. Like it was a really gnarly experience. Like it was
the
crazy.
I think the issue that arises with Wrong Turn 6 is that it offered to delve a lot deeper into what people wanted in the family, but then just kind of shadowed out into something completely different. Like everyone wanted to know where the three lads came from, but it kind of
Right.
jumped over the point of how they survived number two, where, or sorry, how they survived number two, yeah, where they were all kind of killed. I know it was a sort of a slightly different family where you had Ken Kersinger in as Pa, but you still had Three Finger that was in there that's been in them all. Like he died in pretty much all of them, especially in number two. He was very dead in number two.
Interesting thing is like Frank Woodworth, who wrote the script, was really trying to kind of rewrite the mythology. And I think the idea was that I think they underestimated the fans that really had been following it. And like, if you're doing a sequel, you don't want the last sequel to be completely ignored because you're a fan of that. So they were trying to sort of set up something. I think one of the things that's interesting too, that you may know this, is the three brothers are never it's like three stuntmen that switch off who
Yeah,
plays what. So I think that's like an interesting choice because um because they don't speak English, like they're real stuntmen, so they don't none of they really, I will say this, they stayed in character the entire time filming. Like never once broke character. Like they would come to set completely I so like they wouldn't talk and they would stay in character, like really crazy. And one day, one of our last days filming, we were all on the grass and now like winter was ending and spring was coming, so all the snow was melting. And I look over and I see this very kind of handsome but familiar looking guy smoking. And I'm like, this, like, who's that guy? He hasn't been on set. And like, mind you, there's like 100 people on set. It's a huge crew. But by this time, you kind of know who everyone is. And I'm looking at him, and then everyone's in hysterics, screaming, laughing. And then someone goes, That's Three Finger. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like this, he's a very beautiful, stuntman guy. And I had spent so much time like screaming and breathing into his face. I would have never known, but I felt like this general like familiarity with him. And I think had those actors played the same characters all the way through, they might have said, "Well, what's the mythology here?" It's like I so I do understand when fans go, "Well, number six totally negates number two, number two negate like you know." And and I really like Frank because I think they knew that they wanted to they were trying to save a buck too. Like they're like, we're gonna give these two young unknown actors to be, the voice of the three brothers. They need a speaking baddie, right? So they gave Jackson and I that. And instead of like casting a big name there. So for
in
me,
which they done in the previous one where they hired Doug, yeah, obviously Doug
right.
Bradley in.
So it was like
No,
it was big shoes to fill. Um, they didn't want to pay the amount that they should have for that. And so like I know when I got the script, like they didn't let me read the script until I already agreed to do the movie.
see,
Um,
I wouldn't be mad. Like, I'm not an actor, and I don't know how that goes or how it normally goes, but that wouldn't be something that would be an alarm bell for me that they're not letting me read what I'm about to do.
Well, you do. I mean, before I did it, obviously, I had to rehearse and everything, but I'm saying they didn't like Wrong Turn Six, they wanted to keep everything under wraps. So on
Oh,
these
okay, I get you. I get you.
franchises, it's like out of respect for the fans. They don't want you to leak anything. They don't want,
Hmm.
so I have to tell you, for an actress who's like dying for a big break, and then you get that script and I'm reading it and I'm going, oh my God. Like, I it's hilarious. I'm like, I'm going to be one of the only actresses who ends a movie with a melted face, one leg, having sex with my brother while my three brothers watch with on a sex altar, crying tears of joy. Like there's nothing, it's crazy, it's obscene. I had a My son was in junior high at the time, and I had to sit him down and say, I need you to be on board. Like I'm going to be gone for 30 days, the longest I've been away from you. I'm going to be all the way in Eastern Europe, and I got to tell you what my character is going to do. And like I had never even watched a single Wrong Turn, so I watched all five of them, and I watched like this.
See,
Oh my God.
the the
Yeah.
difference in those, like the very first Wrong Turn, I actually had director Rob Schmidt on recently.
Oh, okay.
Wrong Turn is in my top five of horror films of all time. Um, so it was a big one for me when I got Rob on. Like the first one of them didn't use the formula of, oh, we'll get the pretty girl to get naked just for the sake of it. Which I think kind of drew me in. Like, don't get me wrong, it's all well and good when you see the good looking people getting naked on the screen and you're like, yeah, yeah, good. But sometimes it doesn't need to be done. And I think it was done properly. And then towards the second one, like the second one was fine. It had that one scene, but they turned that into a real nasty kill, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Um, three then kind of went a bit. Three had none actually. Well, it had the cop being naked at the end when she was dead, but nothing major. Apart from, actually, well, I suppose the rafting crew at the start,
Right.
the arrow straight through the nipple in the eye. That was pretty cool. But there's been some cool scenes. I think a lot of the issues with six came around the probably the amount of incest in it.
Oh, it was like, I think around that time, like it's very interesting. When I first started in horror films, like every film had to have nudity in horror. Like we went through a real phase of like basically actors started doing being forced to on horror films, not forced, but it was part of the thing, like a lot of nudity, a lot of gratuitous nudity, um and that's what was selling overseas. So I mean, let's, like, in business terms, you're trying to make your money back, and like this is selling. Well, I think they tried to make it artsy, but it is like, I mean, my character's masturbating in half the movie. Like
It's true.
we almost like the scene where I'm like suffocating him, I sit on his face. Like we I'm sort of like, once I'm in there, I was like, I'm committing to this. Like this was a big opportunity for me. And I'm like, I'm going to commit to Sally as the best I can. But like we were a little bit like, is 20th Century Fox going to even let this scene happen? Like it was a cool scene. As an actor, as a horror actress, I'm like, I'm gonna smother this guy with my vagina. That's the scene, and it's hilarious. But yes,
What a way to go.
I know. Well, and I will say, like, I'm talking about it casually now, but it is funny because if I like meet someone and they go, "Oh, I'm such a fan. I saw Wrong Turn 6." Like, it is a little bit. It's like I did this a lot of crazy shit in the movie, so it's like now I'm older and it's been a while, so I'm like, "Oh, that's great. It's wonderful," but it's a little embarrassing. You're like, "Oh my god!" Like, I know the movie's crazy. I know. Um, it it was a different time, and I'll tell you now, because of China and because of overseas, like the nudity in all movies, but even in, especially in horror, is kind of like passe. It's like not cool anymore, and um unless there's a real reason, it's gone out of style. So we were kind of in like this moment, I think, that when Wrong Turn was shot, it was like at the crescendo, and then by the time it comes out a year later, it was coming down where people were like we don't need to see this. And here's something really bizarre to me, that I didn't realize. Wrong Turn, a lot of families watch the show. Like it is a franchise that in other countries like India and Mexico, um, I got a lot of families who were disappointed because they were like, "Oh, I was watching it. I watch all the Wrong Turns with mom and dad," and like there was so much of that. I don't think the studio realized that people had this like weird tradition where they watched this really crazy franchise together, and that's
It's it,
something like I discovered as we went.
I mean, like I'm as I said, and everyone knows, like I'm a huge fan of the franchise.
Right.
So wherever it went, I didn't really care. I'd watch it. It could have went to far. It could have went as far as 10, 11, 12, and I'd still be watching them. Do you know what I mean? And like, ironically, I had just finished Wrong Turn 6 about a day before you emailed me,
Uh-huh.
because I've literally just gone through the franchise. I went through it in the space of 2 days.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's fun.
yeah. I just, once I put them on, I just kind of go through them. Then, like, I've seen them so many times. Um, but
So
like,
I've always wanted to do, and Greg, you're the perfect person for it, is like a wrong turn convention where they run all six of them and then have the actors from various ones out. Um, I think Elijah Dushku would be hard to have out because she has so much other stuff, but a lot of the actors I think had a really fun start from that.
that's the goat level of the franchise right there.
Yeah. So you would be perfect, Greg.
I could be the host. You set it up, fly
The
me over,
host.
and let's do it.
Yeah, I've had a couple people bring it up to me, but nobody's actually like gone through it. But it is a fun series to watch, because the thing I love about Wrong Turn fans is they get really passionate about like which ones they liked and why it fit and why it didn't. And I mean, like there's it's a good fandom. Like
Yeah,
the there's there's something really fun about getting to be involved in something that's had a lot of sequels that people have strong opinions of. And you know, I've learned a lot. I also am grateful because, every time I book a horror film, it's, in partly because of Wrong Turn. So,
but
but
like even when you do conventions, you're always going to get some fan of the franchise somewhere along
oh
the way.
yeah.
Doesn't matter where you do it.
No, no, yeah. And people are, it's always funny though, because like when I did Comic-Con in San Diego, I had this family that came up and it was like a mom, a dad, uh the sister, two sisters, a brother, and the older sister was at home. And they were so excited and they brought so much stuff for me to sign. And they were like, our sister, it's her birthday and you're her favorite actress, or your character, Sally Hilliker, is her favorite character ever. And then I realized that they were all like, they were very into the movie as a family. And I was like, wow, this is so weird to be part of. Like,
I thought you were going to say they were hillbillies.
they were hillbillies. They were hillbillies. They were from West Virginia. They like love
Oh,
these movies. And yeah, like it's people consume movies a certain way. I wish, I will say, if my phone rang right now and they said we want you to play Sally Hilliker um in Wrong Turn 7, I would be you would see me so stoked. I loved that character. I had so much fun with her. Um like it was like empowering, and the sets were amazing, and like I have like nothing but like great, crazy, insane memories of that. And I'm sad that I haven't got to play her again because it was left open in a way, and I know a little bit about what part 7 would have been.
yeah. I'd read some things online, and I'd read some things that were allegedly leaked. And I wasn't sold on where they were going,
Right.
but
I
I would
well,
have
I
been.
wonder if
I
you read the same thing, because I know from Frank what
oh,
they when it was they were gonna go something into like the blue people of the mountain.
oh no, my one was something completely different. It was set somewhere outside of one of the little towns that run back to Dirt Mountain Road from the original one,
Mhm.
and it would have been based back in, the weird house in the first one. It was meant to be based
Right.
back there, but around spring break time, and a lake
Oh,
that just randomly appeared. Um, Clearly, obviously, it wasn't a leak.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
but
remember
I
they
I'd
used
have been
to,
all for it. It didn't matter what the story would have been. I would have watched it anyway.
yeah. I mean, remember like for a long time before Wrong Turn 6 came out, and like right after I was cast, but I wasn't allowed to tell anyone. Someone leaked it when I was in Bulgaria. Uh, but it wasn't like we weren't allowed to tell the storyline or anything. Uh, but I will say, like, it was like a thing to make fan videos of fake trailers. That was like always people would send me
I actually can't. I actually can't stand them. They just take up my whole Facebook feed now. Look at
oh
this.
they
Jenna Ortega must be the busiest fucking woman on the planet with all the fake stuff that she's put in lately.
oh my god, so crazy. So
Uh,
yeah, I used to get them a lot, and I don't get them as much anymore. But yeah, I used to get like people constantly would be like, did you see the trailer?" And I'm like, "That's not the trailer. That's not." I mean, look, it's cool to be part of something that people are passionate enough to spend like that amount of time making a fake trailer. Or people would send me like scripts. People, especially people who are kind of unhappy with the direction of Wrong Turn, they would like as if I had power to say, where the storyline's going. I'm like, this is lovely, but I can't help you here.
Yeah. What is it that you want me to do here? I'll just go and switch everybody's script and we'll see if they
I
notice.
I know, right? But the people who made the film, like Valeri, the director, and Frank, like they really did. They were really excited. Valeri was very excited to do the franchise. He was very like I think he was hoping that the fans would take to it. I do think that the recall really kind of like killed the
Killed
momentum.
it.
And then it was kind of cool because there was a lot of people who wanted to collect the original, and it can be worth something, the original, if you have it. So I know I did like a special signing in Canada where people had like all their original long terms, which was cool.
Nice, nice. No, um, like for me, the franchise is great, and I'm not sure I want another piece put into it.
Right.
Like I'm happy with the six. I can watch six in 2 days, and I tend to do it most of the time. Seven might be a stretch.
It might be hard to watch all of them. All
Yeah.
right. All right, I guess I'll just move on with my career. It's fine.
I mean, yeah. I'm not sure there's much more story to go than a half mutilated cripple.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
But
I
I'd be intrigued.
well, I think sequels are like it's pretty hard once you get to a point in sequels for like people are love hate them because they know it's a cheap they feel it's a cash grab, and
Yeah.
you're not gonna the fans like almost watch it ready to hate it. I mean, there's a lot of sequels like that. Like Scream. Will I watch Scream? Yes. Am I that excited about it being a sequel? Not really.
Ooh,
Um,
that's a bold call right there on Scream now.
no, well, I mean, I want to see like I thought. I know what you did last summer. I only am interested in the sequel if it's about like Jennifer Love Hewitt and that friend group. I don't necessarily love like the idea of like passing the torch. So
Yeah, I never got that either. And I know they've done it with Scream to an extent, and now they've had to backtrack.
right,
Obviously due to issues outside of filming. That I'm not willing to discuss or to get into because it can go down a rocky road.
right,
Um, I really enjoyed the Carpenter stories.
right.
Um, and like for me, if I was to rank Scream, I'd rank Scream one, five, six, two, three, four.
Oh, interesting. I could agree with that. I mean, it,
Like I
but
really liked five and six.
I'd have which they were both about Nev Campbell, right?
No, five and six were Jenna
Cats.
Ortega and Melissa Barrera's ones.
Ah, interesting. See, I I am so I do understand if people are like, you know, if Elijah came back and did Wrong Turn 7, like people would go fucking insane, obviously.
Yes,
Like
bring back Desmond Harrington too.
yeah, like that would be really, really cool. Like, so I do think it is tough when you have sequels and like whether or not they could have like, had more of the three brothers that everyone sees, like, that would have been good. Um, the problem is, they can only do so much, but they could have had them do more, et cetera, et cetera. I do think that sequels can be really weird because at least with Scream, uh, when they redid like with Jenna Ortega, like it's still the same formula of like who's the killer, who's in the mask. But
Yeah,
I'm like I loved Nev Campbell. Just like I know what you did last summer. Like I love Jennifer Love Hewitt. Maybe it's my own like being older. I'm like, well, why I don't want them to just have a cameo. I want to like Jamie Lee Curtis, like I think fans love that movie because she's not just regulated to playing someone's mom and then that's it.
Which Halloween, the new Halloweens.
Yeah,
So
like
I was never sold on the Halloween franchise. I loved one and I loved three. The rest of them I was just kind of like, yeah, they can do whatever. And then 2018 came out, and the lads that started this show were like, you need to watch 2018. It's class. It's this, and I was like, lads, I'm not. I don't care enough to watch it.
right.
And in 22, when Halloween ends, no, Halloween Kills was coming out. I watched Halloween one, then I watched 2018 because I was going to see it that night. I won tickets to go and see it in the cinema, and I was hooked in. And like 2018's Halloween is phenomenal. It's one of the best sequels to any horror film.
Oh, I know it's so I mean it's so good. It's
Mm.
so good. And so I think good sequels can be done well, but uh the the fans also want them to kind of hold true to the original,
But
obviously. Mhm.
well, on this show we've been known for some hard hitting questions, right?
Okay.
Just before we finish up, I don't want to hold you all day while it's actually quite bright out for you. Um, but throw me some of your favorite horror sequels.
Oh boy.
And like it could be Halloween Part Six. It could be whatever. So say throw me three of them because that's a tough one.
Your best sequels.
Well,
I
not
mean,
even the best sequels. Show me your favorite sequels.
my favorite sequels of all.
You're
I
you're the first person to ever get this question.
oh shit. So I've got it. Well, I think Leprechaun is fun. The sequels from Leprechaun are fun because they're ridiculous and they kind of
Leprechaun in the Hood.
yeah, like Leprechaun in space. Like to me, that's great. Nightmare on Elm Street, I think are great. All of them. The sequels are good because I like Freddy Krueger. So I'm sort of the same way. Like, and I also maybe appreciate that they get less and less scary because
Yeah,
I wanted to was terrifying as a kid. So I think the Final Destination sequels are solid. The last one, I wasn't as enthusiastic as everybody else.
Bloodlines. I like Bloodlines.
Good. I just felt like they did a lot of like winking to the audience and
Yeah,
like which was fine. I'm not always someone who likes to be winked at during a movie because it pulls me out of the movie. I also think the formula for Final Destination is so it's so it's so intelligent. It's like you know what you're getting, and then you just wait for the crazy kills. Which
I
is
actually I actually had Jeff Reddick on who
oh,
created
I love
Final
him.
Destination.
He's
Yeah.
so cool, and he's so generous with his time and information. And yeah,
If any man in this world could be any more laid back, he'd be asleep.
he is very. I yes, he is very well. He's a writer.
He's
He's a
so funny though. I had a great conversation with him.
he is so
Mm.
just a kind person. Like you want him to win. I love that Tony Todd was in the last like the story of Tony Todd where he has like his last speech
Oh,
like
that speech fit perfectly, really, didn't it? Because
and they
of it,
said to him because they knew he was dying like you know you could say they let him script that and say you can like what do you want the fans to know? So it was like a really lovely that I liked. So there was a lot of, there was like, he's such a horror fan, and I think Jeffrey, like, he knew like it was a big deal that it was getting a mainstream theatrical and like that was really cool. So yeah, I would say those are some big uh sequels that I
okay.
like. I like the question. No one asked me that. I feel like I need to. I need to study up. I'm so lame, but I loved Poison Ivy too, if we're really talking about sequels. Um,
Oof.
oh,
I,
you're like, I gotta go. Sorry, it
I,
was nice talking, Sadie. You have no
uh,
taste. No,
you're
I mean,
done. It's over.
it's there. Um,
I mean,
yeah.
everybody has those movies they like. Do you know what I mean? And
No,
like my mates all slag me over it for Wrong Turn, right?
tell them tell them to give me a call and we'll talk.
But do you know what I mean? Like they all give me reason. Now, one of them likes the first one. Obviously, I was just like, okay, I says like I like what I like. Do you know what I mean? I says it's easy horror, and I said there's a lot worse horrors out there than that.
Right,
Hmm.
right. I mean,
And I've seen some of it, and I don't like knocking things, um,
right. Well,
because
it's a different, like, it's a different kind. Like, when people have asked me to describe the franchise, I'm like, it's a franchise where the bad guys win and the kills are really inventive and kind of crazy. Like, by the way, I did not get to see any of the other characters get killed that weren't in my scenes. They did not leak those kills. So when I
oh, you didn't see it till it went out.
yeah. So like I ADR'd my scenes, but I did not see the movie until opening night. And like one of the actor got like the the uh, the fire hose in his ass and his ass exploded. Like he
Oh
did
yeah.
not tell us. Like no one told us because they weren't allowed about how crazy their kills were. And I think he was like didn't want us to know because he was embarrassed. So I mean, and like Roxanne Pellet, like as a woman, do I love the idea that she was like raped and then tore apart limb to limb? Probably not. But like the series is that it's about like the bad guys winning, and that's the series. And to me, that's something kind of fun because a lot of it's at least uniquely different um, than any other thing out there. So I think that's the difference of franchises. You have to have an IP that is strong enough that it continues to go on. I mean, Terrifier kills everyone and it's a big fucking bloodbath. Um, but you have to have something that makes it unique, and that's what makes Wrong Turn unique. And it was like a lower budget compared to like these other franchises that kind of goes crazy, which is why like Leprechaun is pretty fun. Uh,
I
it,
mean, Leprechaun gave Jennifer Aniston her start, so
and I actually wrote a movie with the creator of Leprechaun called Scorned.
did you?
Not, yeah. So that, you know, which was a lot of fun too. Um, which is for a whole other interview. But yeah, I think there's something fun about the familiarity of even like I've done a lot of B movies, a lot of horror, and I do think that there's something fun about those movies because they belong to the fans more. Because if the fans didn't watch it all, you
Well,
know, you're not
with
mainstream.
that, like, obviously you've been in quite a few horror movies. How many do you reckon you've survived in?
Most of them, actually. I don't
A Hard Place.
almost all of them. So a hard place I die.
Yeah.
Sorry, well, that's the opening. It's
Oh,
like it's the hard place is a was a cameo role. I got to work with Biling and Glenn Miller, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Um,
sorry, Jason. We didn't. That
but
wasn't the thing.
what?
I was apologizing to Jason. I was like, that wasn't probably the thing, but sure. It's out on Prime anyway, so
Yeah, I mean, Jason's really, really passionate. The people involved are really
I love
passionate.
Jason. He's such a good lad.
Yeah, he's great, and he's really gives back to the film community. So I was just like very touched that he asked me to be involved in the film, and he wrote like this special little scene for us and then played it throughout the movie. Um and like I adore him. I think Felissa gives one of the best performances of her career in that. It's kind of is she just plays this really unhinged character that I love. Um, but yeah, actually, I live in most of my films. I'm
Uh,
I would say
so
I'm either the final girl or fuck, I'm trying to remember. Or I guess do I live in Amityville Harvest? Yeah, I think.
it's
Hmm.
debatable.
I've done a lot of films as the villain that lives, um, you know,
I mean,
like
you survive Wrong Turn, but is did you really survive?
I
The
don't know.
body is still going.
I'm the funny thing about that is I think I'm happy at the end of the movie. All my character wanted was to have a baby, and I finally have my my brother. We're finally going to be able to make a perfect baby. At least
I
that's
mean,
what
why not just write the other brother? You know what I mean?
because we already had the babies that like it already didn't work. That was the reason about
Yeah, but
it.
there's three other ones.
Yeah, but
They
all of
might be fucked up, but
I know all of my characters, like I supposedly was with all of them. So
yeah, that didn't make the final cut. But we won't say anything about that.
yeah.
Um,
So, well, I allude to it. My character alludes to it. That's why I'm so wacky. In fact, I the idea is that I'm sort of in heat. So when I'm like shaking and I'm so nervous, as he's like, you have to wait because they're waiting. So yeah, this on that note, Greg Flanagan.
I think we'll leave it there for tonight. I'll definitely have you back again. Absolutely, anytime you ever want to come back.
All right. I'm gonna
Um,
hold it. I'm gonna hold you to it.
absolutely. You drop me an email. Let's do it. You see something in the cinema you like, let's do it. As long as I've seen it, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. Send me your address over email and I'll send you like a long term something. I'll find
Yes,
something to send to you.
love free stuff.
Free free stuff. Well, I'll have to look I'll look around for something cool to give you.
Right. But what I'll do then is I've got one more question that I ask everybody these days, right? And I won't allude on it too long. Give me your top five
Okay.
John Carpenter films.
Oh God. Like you're
This is a
asking,
new thing that I've gone with. Um,
I like you're quizzing me on I'd have to look at the whole thing. You're quizzing me on things like just because I do, I always feel like I let down like horror interviewers because they think like I know my horror trivia. And I'm like, I do not know my horror trivia.
it doesn't have to be horror. Like it could be John Carpenter's music video. I don't know. It's just something like like some people don't like. I've had two people say to me, they be like, I don't really watch a whole lot of John Carpenter stuff, so I couldn't tell you.
Well, I let's see. In order of my favorite, uh I mean, in the order of my favorite, let let me I mean, it's kind of
It's
crazy.
a tough question.
Well, I mean, what's the
I've broken Miss Sadie Katz, ladies and gentlemen.
like I'm trying to think like what my favorite I mean, do I have to say Halloween is
No,
my favorite?
you say the top five, whatever you want. Doesn't even have to be a top five. It doesn't have to be in order. Just
Well, I okay, so I would say like Christine, right?
second time that's been mentioned in the list.
Okay, I'm looking like so how about I say which Carpenter films I have seen? That would be
Okay, yeah, okay, go with that one.
I would say Village of the Damned, pretty good slow, but good, slow in like the best way. And you know who's in that? Michael Pare, who I've done a bunch of films with. So who I
Is he
love.
in Village of the Damned?
He is. And
It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
yeah. Oh, you know what I haven't seen? I haven't seen vampires. I've seen Escape from LA, which is a really
Oh
good movie. That's funny. I didn't even
no, no,
it.
it is not a good movie. No,
Listen, it takes place in the 2000s. Any movie that shows the future and it's like a dystopian is hilarious. I like dystopian post like apocalypse.
go watch Escape from New York then.
Well, I think that's funny. I haven't seen Body Bags. I don't remember The Fog. I probably should see that because it's a classic. I've never seen Dark Star. Of course, Big Trouble in Little China, which is sort of, you know, fun, and Kim Cattrall's in it. Sort of
That's my favorite movie of all
I
time.
mean, that's a great movie. The Thing is a great movie. That's a great movie.
Great, greatest remake of any genre ever.
I mean, it's pretty solid. I've never seen Assault on Precinct 13. Never seen that.
Phenomenal movie, and the score for that movie is so much better than the film itself. Oh my
Well,
god.
yeah, I haven't seen that. Um, so I have some movies to watch.
Tough list. Tough list. Yeah, it's a tough question, especially like I know it's
Listen,
coming all the time, but
yeah.
it's been a long chat. I'll let you away with that one.
All right. Oh gosh, you let
Uh,
me away, hanging my head in shame.
for
Uh,
now.
okay.
Look, you
Thank
you
you.
you, men-
Thank,
you mentioned the big one, so that's it.
okay.
Right, folks. I'm gonna finish this the way I finish every single Friday night. In the words of the great George A. Romero, ladies and gentlemen, stay scared.